Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
And
good.
let me give Linda a call and see that's where she is.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so then she will join us, but then yeah, she doesn't feel well today, so then it will be me and you having this conversation.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, okay.
Could you tell me a bit about what you're doing? And I know you have some events going on, and could you just tell me about it?
Yes, and so basically, yeah, so currently that's, I'm mostly focusing on AI 2030, and the goal of AI 2030 is the mainstream responsible AI, and there that we identify the three main gaps, which include the awareness gap, tooling gap, and also the talent gap. So many of our work is around how to fill those gaps by bring people together. We have around over now 800 members from 18 countries and working. A lot of them are experts in the space, and we developed a framework. We build the best practice, and we do training. We organize events. We host the show like this. We have the Women in Leadership Award. So a lot of things really trying to fill those gaps, trying to mainstream responsible AI.
I see. Okay. And you're mainly giving services to companies regarding these topics?
Yes, correct. And
I
they
see.
are our members.
Oh, so the members are the like the companies who are
We
enjoying your services.
have different type of member, individual member, corporate member, and
Hmm. I see. So it's like different. It could be a company that is a member, or it could be a certain specific person that is part of this community.
correct. Yeah, it can be individual member, can be corporate member, and can also be startup member, government member. Yeah, we have different categories.
Great. And if somebody is a member, it means that he would go to the events and he would get all the services and the content, or it's like
So we
specific
have a
for his
different
needs.
member tier, and based on your
Mm,
tier, and then interaction is defined differently. Yeah.
I see. Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. Then we can start the show, and yeah, Linda is here, and we can just stream. We just go get the recording start, and we can get it started. Yeah. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to AI 2030 show. And in this episode, we focus on women in AI leadership. And I'm your host, Xiaochen Zhang, and I'm the founder of AI 2030. And we are an organization trying to mainstream responsible AI by filling the gaps such as awareness gap, tooling gap, and talent gap. And in this episode, that we have an amazing guest, Ali, and maybe you can just introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Adima Zolcario. I'm a product and design expert, expertise, especially in AI and generative AI. I'm part of the Google Accelerator for the last like 15 years, helping and mentoring startups, and especially understanding what is the AI in the future for humanity.
Perfect. And probably let's just dive deep into your experience. And you have a different life paths, professional paths, and why did you choose what you chose?
So, like I've been around for like, I have my 50th birthday next week.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So I've been around in my profession for more than 20 years. So I've started doing only design, and then actually what we've done is product and design. And then I said, okay, I need to, because I'm very curious and I always want to learn more. So I want to learn more about voice design. And then it was like back then, mainly like Siri and Cortana, just the beginning of just understanding how to communicate via voice with machines. And then I created this course and I tried to do more on that aspect. And because I'm part of the Google community, I'm an expert at the beginning for the assistant, for the Google Assistant back then. And afterwards, it's changed because all the generative AI came out and ChatGPT and everybody know about that. So they changed it to generative AI. And then I got more focused on that. I created a program for generative AI for leadership, how to create products with generative AI. So I really focused on that. And I think this is the future, and everybody wants to be in, just thinking about the future of humanity, not only in tech, needs to understand that.
Yeah, probably you can help us to dive a little bit deep into the AI and the generative AI, because you just experienced the both. And interestingly, before Gen AI and AI have been there for a long time, and of course that's in the meantime there are other emerging technology which are just dominating at a time, and then AI has always been on the side, and see that AI is happening and many organizations running using AI. But after Gen AI or ChatGPT was introduced, suddenly like all efforts enter into that.
Sure.
So yeah, can you just maybe
Yeah,
dive a little deep into that trend
sure.
and then the phenomenon?
Sure. So I think that before ChatGPT, before the generative AI started to be known, before the, like, let's say like 2 years ago, more, even less. And most people have thought about AI as some kind of an algorithm, an automation that is working faster and better, and that's it. So they didn't think that much about the algorithm that would give them recommendations for what to watch on Netflix or what is the content of their social media feed. It was not that interesting because it was, in the back end, most people were not aware how does it work. They just got the end result. When the generative AI models came out, and ChatGPT was the first, but afterwards we had Gemini and Claude and more than that, we know that people started to interact with it. the minute that you're engaging with a technology, you understand the power. Because, from the beginning, if something is working and you're not really interacting with it, it sounds good, but you don't really care. But now, when this could help you think together, just understand the things in a different way, to interact with technology in ways we are not aware of, to get results which are amazing, not only in text, but in visuals, in images, in video. It's something that is amazing just to see all the creativity that could be done through these models. So the fact that we could easily understand how would that impact our own lives, and how could that help me with anything that I know. I'm just thinking about something in my daily life, and I'm going to these kinds of tools and started to work with it. And I can tell you that today, it's like it's something that I could not imagine not working with. Currently, I'm working on a new course for the university, so I'm thinking together with this helper. I'm doing things for my podcast. I'm always thinking together. What would be the questions? What would be a better way of seeing things? What did I think about the situation of what I'm gonna aspire to have in this discussion? All of that is done through conversations. And afterwards, we could do it with voice. We could just talk to this assistant, and it has immense opportunities and impact on our lives for sure.
Yeah, and what you described, I think, is already, a lot of people's daily life, where that's, we call it as a collaborative intelligence, where that's, we have human intelligence, then there's a machine intelligence. Before that, machine is just a tool, and there's no intelligence. That you just basically, you put human intelligence dominating the tool just deliver whatever you're looking for. But now that's,
And
a lot of new efforts go to how to just design, build collaborative intelligence, and then to having human machine working together. So there, that I think design part is really play a very important role. And I know that you are design experts, and if
yeah,
people want to just design or change their process or change their products, and leveraging AI, and from the design, leveraging design principle, and how do they design effectively, and then to make this interaction more effective, more inspiring.
yeah. So I'll tell you a story. So like 2 months ago, the head of the entrepreneurship department in a big university came to me and said, "Okay, I want you to teach product design and UX with AI," meaning these entrepreneurs would not need an AI or a product expert. They would just use AI for it. And I said, "No way, you could not do it. It's just too much. You're asking too much. We're not there yet." And then he said, "You know what? See what we could do. This is the topic that we already told the students about. You're going to build it." And I had 2 months, right? So I took it for these 2 months, and I could tell you for sure it could be done. It could be done even kind of easily. From the beginning of an idea, just to talk with someone, you could talk to, there is character.ai, meaning you could talk to someone who is a bot based on all the information from a specific person. You could talk to Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or whoever you want just to discuss your idea. And then you could think about market research and competitor research. You could do it with AI right now. There are lots of tools. And then just the discovery, the creation of the interface themselves, the research, before you know what you're going to do. And after you have something, you could do usability testing with AI tools. So all through the life cycle of a product, from the idea to an MVP, to product market fit, to a really good product, you could do it easier, faster, and in a very simple way using AI tools already. So you just need to know what are the tools you could use. If you're thinking specifically about design, just think about the Figma tool, which most UX designers are using. It has lots of plugins and even basic capabilities for AI. You could just write what you want, and you would get an interface in a very slick graphic design, final detail design of the screens, which is just amazing. It's not as good as someone that you will take, because the flow is not perfect, but it's all there. So, and we're just starting. Just think about it. It's very new tools. So you could just imagine where it will be like half a year from now or a year from now.
Yeah, and then you go back to, you shared a few times about, the course that you designed, the course that, you taught, and in general, that's in the AI era, if we call it, and learning becoming, such an important thing. And of course, that AI is also changing or transforming the, learning experience. I remember when I was teaching at Virginia Tech, and I was asking my students not to use the phone at my class because I remember one of the students just say during your class time, and then this is exactly my stock is doing the I need to do the transaction, otherwise I lose money. So but I still, you choose my class, you have to stay here. You cannot just do that transaction. But now that, when Gen AI becoming such an important part of their learning experience, it's even very difficult for, educator to say that, in my class, don't use the Gen AI. But in the meantime, that, if Gen AI knows a lot, and what is really the role of an educator in that learning experience?
Yeah,
How we can just really define the role clearly for educator and also for the machine side, and any
yeah.
insights?
That's a good question. I'm asking myself as I create this course. But actually, just understanding what could be and what is a good process. If you don't define the process well, you would get a result and you would just think that that's the best result you could get. If you don't understand the logic and what are the basics of good product, good research, good results of for user testing, a good design, if you don't understand that, you would clearly not know how to test, measure, and validate and understand your results. So you need the basics. And I think that as educators, so I tell you, so in this specific course, they're learning so many generative AI tools because they need to know how to use it and what are the tools that are best for each of these tasks and how could they do it well. So we were learning prompt engineering basics and we're learning these tools and what you could trust and what is not a good result. So in many cases, these models are very sure of themselves and they're just making mistakes, hallucinations, and so forth. You need to understand that. So just not trust them fully, to understand what is a good result that you should get and how to get there and how to make sure that what you get is the best result and the right result. And it's not that clear anymore. Sometimes it sounds very, very like a very good answer and it's not, right? So just question yourself. So I think that as educator, we cannot resist technology and we need to know how to teach these new generations from now on how to use them wisely and what could not be done with AI, and in general, what kind of a future we want to build. So that's the big question, right? So we
It
could
is.
use lots of tools, but what do we want to create? And I think this is the main theme that I want to take forward for these young entrepreneurs, asking what are the things you want to build and what do you want to make more prominent in this world. And you could use all the tools on the way.
Yeah, and when you were talking, something just took in my mind that if you just so from the higher education, and a lot of time that's especially at the like master or PhD level, that's you are looking at basically hypothesis testing is the way how you just acquire new knowledge and then to advance your research. But with Gen AI, and it's very easy for you to just start by asking a conclusion. And then Gen AI will create evidence for you. And then
Of
that's,
course.
a lot of us just, say how we can just really prevent humans get more and more lazy on the daily basis. And finally,
Yeah,
okay, so you can just really get evidence to support any argument that you're testing, or hypothesis you're testing. How does that impact the humans seeking for truth, seeking for the advancement. Similar thing
sure.
to entrepreneurs. And when you just talk about the entrepreneurial process and using design thinking, lean startup approach, and a lot of time that you have to just talk to hundreds, thousands of customers to find out what is the customer need. Then you build toward that. But now again, ask Gen AI anything in your mind, say customer may want that, then you just say yes, yeah, customer want it, and then you build it, but actually it may not. So then
Yeah,
I think
you're
it
right.
has a lot of potential consequences to entrepreneurship, innovation, and humans. Intellectual ambition and all that. So, what's your thoughts? How we can
I,
address that?
Yeah, I totally agree. In both of these cases, in academic research and in product creation and value creation, you need to know that you will get an answer and you will get it very clearly and in a very simple way. It pronounced like in a very clear and precise way. It doesn't mean that it's true, and you need to know what you could trust and what you couldn't. For if you give an example about research, just understanding how research is done, where the data is gathered. Is it gathered in a clear way and in a validated way is a question. And the same goes for if you want to do a user research. How do you get the right users? Do you really get the data or just assumptions? Do you know that if you'll do it manually, would you get something similar, or it's just something that this LLM is creating? So questioning and being focused on seeking for the truth is very important these days, because you could use it, just say like easily, I'll just ask, I'll get a result, and that's it. And it's very simple, right? And even just thinking about synthetic data, synthetic personas and users, just thinking about it is just amazing. Like it means I'm building something for humans based on non-humans that pretend to be humans, and I trust it. So maybe you should and maybe you shouldn't, but check it out before you're going for that direction.
Yeah, and in your whole career, that's you are helping different, no matter you call it customers or you call it, students, or you're helping people, in your whole career.
Mhm.
That for now again with Gen AI, with all the the tools available and all that. If what kind of question or that you get more and more now, and also what kind of problems that you tend to help them to solve compare now with before?
Yeah, I think that everybody knows future is AI. Nobody really knows clearly what is the direction that we're heading for. So we could imagine where it would be in like half a year or 3 years from now, but what is the implications for the market, for our jobs, for the roles, for professions that are needed, for tools that we should build, and some tools are already solved. And most people know that they need to use it, but not many leaders and managers know exactly how. So when I talk with startups, they know that they want to build a product or a tool that is utilizing this technology. So that is kind of like a technological question in a way. But if you're thinking about organizations and big companies trying to utilize this in order to make their processes better or to make their marketing or sales better, it's not that clear. So we have lots of tools using AI technologies, but it's not like going to be your next marketing person or your next salesperson. Not yet, but it's getting there. So how do you utilize this technology in the best way? How do you do it safely? Do you really trust it regarding bias, security, privacy? It's questions people are not sure about, not yet. And I think that most people are aware that it's coming, but they don't know what is the implication for themselves, for their company, for their product, for their competitors, and for their own specific role. What is the implication on my specific role in the company? So if I'm doing marketing right now, does it mean that I'm not going to do it anymore? If I'm doing branding and design, does it mean that they don't need me? If I'm doing copywriting, if I'm doing legal, if I'm doing something related to accounting, what is the implications of that? I think that most people are very worried about what will be the 5 years from now, the implications. And it's a big question. Nobody knows how to answer. And you could get like somebody saying like it's all black, there is no hope, and somebody saying, yeah, so many new things gonna come, and we're all gonna be lots of like new things and being curious and delighted. I don't know, but unknown is not good for humans. They want to know.
Yeah, and I think that people now even dare not to ask a question around, in 5 years and in 5 months, and you still don't know
Yeah,
that's what will be happening, and then what will be another, amazing Gen AI application, is introduced, and suddenly, an industry disappeared or some. So
right.
what is your strategy? And everyone, I think, in the sense, of course, different professional have very different foundations. But then, I think, other than people who are just doing like AI as their job for 20 years, and then I think, into the introduction of Gen AI probably just create a starting point, they're equal to everyone. And
Right.
there, that's, what was your strategy make you effective in this transition? And what, we hope that people can get inspired from, your
Yeah.
past, your story. Yeah.
So I would say that you need to be always curious about what could be. And if you're sure of what is your present position, what you're doing right now, how things are done, how is your business managed, everything related to your product, and you're very sure of yourself, I would say just add a question mark here. You need to question yourself all the time. And I think that it doesn't matter if you're doing product design, marketing, sales, legal, being in management in any kind of domain. You need to ask yourself all the time, what could I do better and faster using these tools? How could I utilize AI either to beat my competitors? And for my own specific knowledge as a professional, how can I make my own life better and my own professional life better with AI? And just understand what is the meaning of it. So not like in high level understanding that we would have these bots and robots and all of that, just really understanding what could be done with these technologies and what could not be done. That's a good question. And the implications is not only for business, it's for the society, it's for how we perceive our world, our experiences, how do you perceive the relationship with each other and maybe with machines. So just understanding this domain, and it's a very new and exciting and a bit frightening domain, everybody should know that, just to understand what is even could be the implications. Maybe it would not happen, but just understand. And I think it's very important for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a gardener or a psychologist or somebody who's doing tech.
Yeah, and those, I think, what you said, it really totally makes sense, from, being curious and have your de define your own path. And have you observed any successful stories from the industry or from the corporates? And, what are the, more relevant stories or more relevant strategy that they have tested and you think that worked for them?
So I work with either startups and very young companies or big enterprise companies. I think that enterprise companies in general are slower to adjust and it takes them time and they're more cautious because they're worried about the privacy and security and all the risks are they're bothered with it and they're not there yet. But if we're talking about products related to AI, companies using AI in their own products, building something from scratch with AI, I see it all around with the startups. They know what should be done. They are learning really fast. There are so many ways to learn, and it's all like for free and available online. You could easily go and just learn it, especially if you're coding and you have just the beginning of it, just to understand what it means to do code with AI, either with tools like using a Copilot or using tools for coding or creating code with at the beginning LLMs and afterwards with open code and open models. It's it's there and they learn from it really fast. And then the tools that they are creating are much better and faster, and it gets to better sales and better products in the end.
Yeah, and that those are very helpful, and in terms of learn about new tools and test it, and then to really use it to build and all that. I think that totally makes sense. And yeah, this is the question I learned from the another host of the show, that if you're given unlimited resources, and is there any one thing that you really want to do?
With AI, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I would love it if all of the people who are not aware of technology would be able to define what they want to get with technology. So I would just think about deprived communities, about kids, about societies that have less technology, and what are the problems that they are bothered with. Like 3 years ago, I went with a Google Accelerator to the World Food Program, and we met startups from Africa, which you usually don't meet. But they come from these societies that they're bothered with so like different problems than what we have. They're not thinking about getting their food delivery so fast, and they're not thinking about flying easier and faster. They're thinking about getting loans, micro loans, in order to do farming, in order to help their society just stay there and not like beat hurricanes and floods. So they have problems which are major, and because they're far away, nobody is thinking about them because it's like far away, and it's like you're not thinking because it's not part of your own experience. But if you could use AI in order to just collect this data of these problems and think together how to solve them, I think it will be so much more impactful and important for society than just making the Netflix algorithm better. So I would watch another binge. I'm not sure I need it. So I would love to have that capability just to relate to other people and to understand other societies with these tools.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I agree with you that a lot of time that problem are not being solved because problem are not being identified. And there's
Yeah.
no data to tell why it's important. And then even after you solve it, and then there's nobody really talk about it, and then you cannot celebrate it. So finally, that's
Yeah.
problem remain as a problem with the new better tools, and I think a lot of those problems can be addressed. And my last question is, in again, this is we focus on women AI leadership, and the reason why we think it's an issue is that if the interesting part is, if I want to just before this is special focus and it's very easy for me to find the male speakers for a show for and then I need to spend at least 3 times or 5 times more energy and time to really identify, some women leaders who also are willing to just share. And also, it's very interesting that when you look at the real work, and a lot of women leaders done tons of work and have contributing greatly, in the AI advancements, problem solving, but then from the platform, and then you kind of find who they are, what
Right.
are the thing they are doing. And then a lot of the younger generation, like the women's then they also want to access to those inspiring stories and all that. So then those stories are not available. So then for you, that if you want to just tell them, the younger generation, and say we young girls, for example, in Africa, and say that with this, any words you want to just share with
Yeah.
them, get them to start working
Sure.
on on their own
Sure.
professional
So
life and
first, I
dream.
want to say that I totally understand you. For my podcast, I started and I say 50% are going to be women, and I could not do it. It was too much work just to get these women on the show. And I totally understand what you're saying. Because women are more hesitant to say what they're saying. They want to be perfect. They don't want to be heard like as not as professional. Maybe they're not saying something which is exactly right. Maybe they would say something which is stupid, and it will be very hard for them. And they criticize themselves very heavily. And therefore, they're thinking again and again, should they do it? Why should they do it? It's stressful for them. And then they speak less in general, in meetings, in public, and in these kinds of podcasts and shows. And I think the problem is not related to the domain. I could tell you that I see the same because I go and talk in lots of conferences, and you don't have many speakers, women speakers there. And I regret just thinking about what is the meaning of why are they not there? Because they're criticizing themselves. Regarding AI, I want to say that this tool is so approachable. You could just speak to this device and it will understand you. You don't need like I don't remember his name, the CEO of NVIDIA. He said you shouldn't learn code because you're not going to need it. The next code would be a language. Just talk to this device, right? So women are very good talker. They know how to talk and they're very good at it. So they have the basic tool in order to create whatever they want in the future. So relating AI, you have all the tools that you need. You don't need to go through science education, although you have many women in machine learning and in science right now, and still they're not speaking. But let's say maybe some of them would come not from math and science. They could build a future right now. And there is no reason for them to think again and again before they are trying it out. And I could say because I had so many talks and I have my own podcast and I spoke, for me, it's like, yeah, it's easy. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
But it could be easy for them as well. You just need to, just start and it will just flow from there. And good luck for all of them, for sure.
Perfect. I think that's exactly, how we want to end this show. And, when you just described that code can be just a language, and then when we are good at language, and then, there's also already advantage. And we hope that many more, women will just speak up and also just have opportunity to leveraging the amazing tools, and then be able to just get the opportunity to really not only contributing to practically, but also share the experience with the broader world community. And with that, we have the our Women in AI Leadership Award. And we'll just leave the nomination link at the show page, and hopefully that many of you will be able to help us to identify who they are and then nominate, and then we'll just enjoy their success and also just celebrate their success with broader community. With that, thank you very much, Adi.
Thank you.
Looking forward to just following your success, and then invite you back to hear more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey.
Now we're done. Thank you very much.
Sure, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I really hope that more women would be like approaching, and we should celebrate them for sure. And I would love if we would have a chance to meet, in one of your event. If you need a speaker, just let me know. I'd be happy to join you.
And you normally based in Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're Tel Aviv or?
Yeah, it's close to Tel Aviv, but it's more like half an hour north of Tel Aviv. Have you been to Israel?
Yes.
No? Yes?
Quite a few times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so how did you find?
Yeah, I used to just represent a fund to look for startup in Israel. So then I went there, during those years, and every year I went to Tel Aviv, mostly Tel Aviv, like 3-4 times a year.
Wow. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
And where are you usually based right now?
I'm in Chicago.
Wow. I've never been to Chicago. I know it's cold. And you have the Oprah show. Like that's the thing. Chicago Bulls. That's it.
Yeah, Chicago, next year we have our Chicago AI Week, and in next June. So if you're available, you're welcome to join us.
That sounds really good.
Awesome.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
You too. Have a great day. See ya.